news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. 3 people have died and 1 person remains missing as Tropical Storm Dante continues to bring rain over the country. 2 persons were also injured due to the tropical cyclone, and the NDRRMC says casualties and injured individuals were all reported from regions 11 and 12, although this is still up for further validation and verification. The council also reported that a total of 566 families, or over 2,600 persons, were affected in 18 barangays in the same regions. But only 158 families, or around 600 individuals, are currently taking temporary shelter in 10 evacuation sites. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Dante has caused almost 8 million pesos worth of damage to agriculture as of this morning. Dante has affected 442 rice and corn farmers, who have lost as much as 220 metric tons of produce. The health department is now pushing to prioritize people aged 50 and above in the government's vaccine rollout. To tell us more about this, we have Greg Gregorio joining us live from Marikina. Greg, good afternoon. Could you tell us why the DOH is changing the vaccine priority plan and when they plan to implement this?
Yes, Charles, that has been the recommendation of the Department of Health in the context of vaccination of individuals among A4 sector. But if we are looking into the vaccine priority list for the vaccine rollout of the government, the healthcare workers remains to be at the top of priority, followed by the senior citizens and people with comorbidity. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said, and other experts said that these individuals are the ones who need to be vaccinated first because they are the ones who have the highest chances of getting the infection and progressing to a severe one and unfortunately suffer death. And going back to the prioritization among age group for the A4, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said we are still waiting for the guidelines before we can start the inoculation for the A4. Charles?
Let's get this straight, Greg. Will the government still prioritize residents from the NCR Plus bubble, that being said?
Charles, actually, not just the residents from the NCR Plus bubble. The Department of Health has mentioned that they are prioritizing individuals from the NCR Plus 8. Because aside from the rising cases in NCR Plus, we are also seeing increased cases in regions outside the NCR. Thus, the NCR Plus 8 includes Metro Cebu and Metro Davao. Charles?
Right, that follows. More and more vaccines are coming in, but then actually how many Filipinos have been vaccinated against COVID-19 so far?
Charles, so far, according to the Department of Health, more than 5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered across the country, and 1.2 million individuals have been fully vaccinated. According to Dr. John Wong of the Epimetrics and also part of the DOH tag, we are seeing a good progress in vaccinating individuals under the A1, but we are still seeing a slow vaccination among senior citizens and people with comorbidities. Charles?
Right, Greg, we were talking about certain vaccine passports that may be issued to those who have been fully vaccinated. Do we have any updates on the implementation of this?
Charles, according to DICT Undersecretary Emmanuel Caintic, the IATF will be discussing about the implementation of vaccine passport this week. But according to Undersecretary Caintic, he doesn't want to preempt the discussion, and he'd rather give more information once the discussion has happened. And according to him, more details may come out next week. Charles?
All right, Greg, could you give us the latest on the vaccine supply deliveries for the country? Which brands and how many are we expecting?
Charles, according to the Department of Health, according to Health Secretary Francisco Du,
right,
about 9 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine this month. And this includes brands from Sinovac, Pfizer, and also Moderna. Charles?
Thank you for those updates, Greg. That was Greg Gregorio reporting live from Marikina. The World Bank says it's vital for the U.S. to free up its excess COVID-19 vaccine supply for Latin America. World Bank President David Malpass said these excess doses are critical to support the vaccination drives of Ecuador, El Salvador, and Honduras. He also noted that it's important to speed up vaccine distribution by shortening the manufacturing time, approvals, and allocations of doses produced. Malpass also said that the World Bank currently has $12 billion in COVID-19 vaccine financing available, and it is eyeing to approve vaccination financing operations in over 50 countries by the end of June.
It's vital that we speed up the supply chain. We need to shorten the time from the manufacturing of the vaccine to shots in arms. At present, too many doses are waiting to be allocated. They may be stuck in paperwork, sitting in inventory somewhere, or aren't the type of vaccine the country is able to use.
Myanmar's military has moved civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi from her residence to an undisclosed location. Let's get the details from Bloomberg Daybreak Asia.
What do we know about Aung San Suu Kyi's movements?
Oh, not too much. The head of the legal defense team for both sides, Suu Kyi, told her lawyers during a meeting before her court appearance on May 24 that she'd been moved one night earlier to an unfamiliar location. And they've had no contact with her at all whatsoever. Of course, during this meeting, Suu Kyi had vowed that her pro-democracy political party would continue its work despite being slated for dissolution. Those were her first public comments since the government was overthrown in the military coup. Suu Kyi, of course, who once defended the military's brutal crackdown on the Rohingya minorities at the International Court of Justice, facing 6 criminal charges, including violating State Secrets Act and incitement.
Philip, what are we hearing from the shadow government?
Yeah, the National Unity Government has expressed some serious concerns for their safety. They've labeled the regime a terrorist military council and reiterated its efforts to ensure accountability and justice, and urged that the junta take responsibility for its actions after the coup and against its ethnic nationalities. But it's also expressed a call for action on the UN organizations, developmental partners, and INGOs for effective implementation of emergency humanitarian aid amid increased fighting with ethnic groups.
How much insight and how much reach do these international organizations and other countries also have in Myanmar?
Well, there are countries, particularly in Asia, that have a wider reach with investment prospects in Myanmar. We've recently seen Japan, for example, overtake as the top investor in Myanmar. So there is some avenues for Asian governments, particularly, to do something on a diplomatic front, leveraging, of course, its investments. From the West, though, where we've seen most of the sanctions, coming, though, there's very little investment from Western countries. So, in terms of what they're able to do, it's difficult to tell.
Pope Francis has changed Catholic Church law to criminalize the sexual abuse of adults by priests. These new provisions were released in the revised criminal law section of the Vatican's Code of Canon Law. Let's watch this.
La presenza all'interno della comunità di alcune situazioni irregolari, ma soprattutto i recenti scandali emersi dagli sconcertanti e gravissimi episodi di pedofilia, hanno però fatto maturare l'esigenza di rinvigorire il diritto penale canonico, integrandolo con puntuali riforme legislative. Si è avvertita l'esigenza di riscoprire il diritto penale, di utilizzarlo con maggiore frequenza, di migliorarne le possibilità di concreta applicazione.
Il nuovo canone 1398 comprende a questo riguardo le azioni compiute non solo da parte di chierici riservate alla congregazione della dottrina della fede, ma anche i reati di questo genere commessi da religiosi non chierici e da laici che occupano ruoli nella Chiesa, così come eventuali condotte simili con persone adulte ma commessi con violenza o abuso di autorità.
The city of Manila is gearing up for World Bike Day by installing bike racks that aren't just functional, but also stylish. To give us a sneak peek of what cyclists can expect when biking in the picturesque city, we have Laila Pangilinan reporting live from Manila. Good afternoon, Laila. Could you tell us about these functional art installations around that area?
Charles, after the rain, biking will surely be fun in the city of Manila as the LGU has partnered with Allianz PNB Life for their Ride Safe campaign. This is to encourage a healthy and safe biking community and also to boost the tourism via biking. In line with the celebration of World Bike Day tomorrow, June 3, several functional art installations are ready for use in Manila. These art installations double as bike racks where you can park while resting or while working nearby. There are 4 designs that are also thematic to the location of the bike racks. The Maya bike rack, for example, is located in front of the post office, and the bike rack's design mimics the wings of the Maya bird that once frequented the area. Meanwhile, a wave-like bike rack installation can be seen at the Raja Sulaiman Park in Malate, which draws inspiration from the waves of Manila Bay. If you plan on biking in Intramuros, you may take a pit stop and appreciate the Calesa wheel-inspired bike rack installation at the Plaza de Roma or the plaza in front of the Manila Cathedral. And if you're headed for the Manila City Hall, a Tabak art installation / bike rack awaits you behind the Bonifacio Monument. And I guess by now, Charles, you've also noticed that these art installations / bike racks are both Instagrammable as well as functional. So don't forget to take a pose while trying to be healthy during the pandemic. So let's close in to what Gino Riola, Chief Marketing Officer of Allianz PNB Life, has to say.
Mabuti rin itong sa pagbibisikleta, ang sa kalusugan, ang kabutihan mo. Hindi lang ng pangangatawan, kundi pati na rin ng pag-iisip. Mental wellness is very important nowadays. Kung kaya ito nga, ang Ride Safe, napaka-importante para sa amin.
And Charles, in celebration of Manila Day, PNB or Allianz PNB Life generously gave away 100,000 pesos worth of insurance to 500 City Hall employees that work in the front lines. And that's the latest here. Back to you, Charles.
Thanks for that report, Laila. Stay safe and dry. That was Laila Pangilinan reporting live from Manila. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.